The concept of the Aryan race is a dangerous fallacy, a myth constructed to justify racial supremacy and discrimination. This idea, with its roots in the 19th century, proposed a superior race called the Aryans. They were falsely positioned at the pinnacle of human evolution. This ideology, devoid of scientific basis, fueled prejudice and culminated in the Holocaust. The Aryan myth claimed this master race originated in ancient India and migrated to Europe. This narrative is a distortion of history, twisting linguistic connections into a racial hierarchy. The idea of a distinct Aryan race is a dangerous fiction, warping scientific understanding and historical facts. The legacy of this myth reminds us to challenge prejudice and uphold equality. The concept of the Aryan race did not emerge from a vacuum. It arose in the 19th century amidst a backdrop of burgeoning nationalism, colonialism, and the rise of scientific racism. European scholars, studying the similarities between ancient Indian and European languages, posited the existence of a common ancestor, Proto-Indo-European. This linguistic observation, however, was soon distorted, evolving from a theory about language into a dangerous ideology about race. This linguistic connection was misinterpreted as evidence of a distinct Aryan race, a group of superior people who migrated from their supposed homeland in Central Asia, conquering and civilizing much of Europe and India. This notion of Aryan supremacy took root in European thought, feeding into existing prejudices and hierarchies. It provided a pseudo-scientific justification for colonialism, portraying European dominance as a natural consequence of racial superiority. This dangerous conflation of linguistics and race, fueled by nationalist agendas and colonial ambitions, laid the groundwork for the Aryan myth to flourish. It transformed a relatively benign observation about language into a potent tool for justifying racial discrimination and oppression. The Nazi regime in Germany seized upon the myth of the Aryan race, twisting it into a central tenet of their ideology. They propagated a distorted image of history, portraying the Aryans as a master race responsible for all great civilizations, while demonizing other groups, particularly Jews, as racial inferiors, threatening the purity of the Aryan bloodline. The Nazis established a racial hierarchy, placing the so-called Aryan race at the top. They promoted an idealized image of the Aryan, tall, blonde-haired, and blue-eyed, an image that was often at odds with the reality of German society. This manipulation of history and racial stereotypes served to justify their discriminatory policies, culminating in the horrors of the Holocaust. The Nazis implemented a systematic program of persecution and genocide against Jews, Roma, and other groups deemed racially inferior. They enacted the Nuremberg laws, stripping Jews of their citizenship and basic rights. They established concentration camps, sites of unimaginable suffering and death, where millions were murdered in the name of racial purity. Section 4. The scientific bankruptcy of racial purity, genetics, and the human story. The concept of a pure Aryan race, or indeed any pure race, is a scientific absurdity. Modern genetics has unequivocally demonstrated the interconnectedness of humanity, refuting the very notion of distinct and separate races. Human genetic variation exists on a spectrum, with no clear boundaries separating one population from another. The Human Genome Project, completed in 2003, further debunked the myth of racial purity. It revealed that humans share approximately 99.9% of their DNA, regardless of their ethnicity or geographic origin. These findings underscore the fact that race is a social construct, not a biological reality. The small genetic variations that do exist between individuals are largely insignificant, reflecting adaptations to different environments and random mutations over time. The idea of racial purity is not only scientifically unfounded but also biologically impossible. Human populations have always been in contact and intermixed, exchanging genes and cultural practices. The concept of a pure, unchanging race is a dangerous fantasy, contradicted by the very essence of human evolution and diversity. Section 5. The enduring legacy of a lie. Confronting racism and discrimination. The myth of the Aryan race, though debunked, still casts a long shadow. Its legacy reminds us of the dangers of racial prejudice and the need to combat discrimination. The Holocaust is a testament to the consequences of unchecked hatred. Fighting racism requires a multifaceted approach. Education equips individuals to challenge prejudice. Open dialogue fosters empathy and dismantles fear. We must confront racism whenever it manifests. This includes challenging microaggressions and overt discrimination. By confronting the Aryan myth, we can build a just world.